Status moves in Pokemon, are they beneficial? Well, I may have some answers for that, and you'll have to find that out in a moment. Fun fact, did you know that Dragapult actually launches its own children at Mach speeds as opponents? Now, why does it do this? I don't know, but the kid seems to very much enjoy it, so it's beneficial for them both, I guess. Or beneficial isn't really a word I would put more they're both willing to do it. So yeah, that's today's fun fact, and let's get back to daily programming. Status moves. So they're used in Pokemon a lot. In the anime, in the manga, in pretty much all media of Pokemon, there are status moves. Now, if you're probably wondering what are status moves, well, it's very simple to explain. It's basically where you inflict a status effect on either the opponent or yourself. And those effects could be positive or negative depending on the situation. So let's say you were to inflict poison on the enemy. That would be a benefit. Maybe not for the enemy, but for you. However, if the enemy were to inflict poison on you, it would not be a benefit. Well, unless you're using like Pokemon that can actually increase its power through getting a status effect on it. So it honestly depends, but most of the time when an opponent does a side effect like that on you, it's bad. Unless you're, like I said, using a Pokemon that can take advantage of it. So Pokemon can use status moves. There are plenty of status moves. There are about a lot in the game. By a lot, I mean a few. I mean, some of them have changed over the years, except Paralysis. I think Paralysis stayed the same the entire time. And then there's Sleep, which is basically, it says it in the name, you're sleeping. So you can't really fight. Yeah, so status moves are important, but not a lot of people use them. And I'm more or less talking about the more casual players. Obviously, the competitive scene players are obviously using that up the balls. Like, they're doing this and that, and this and that, and this and that, and this. But obviously, we're not talking about competitive players, because competitive players obviously have like 9,000 hours on Pokemon, so. But there are 3 reasons why I think status moves are beneficial and should be used a lot more, even in casual play. Now, number 1. Status moves can give you an advantage, but like I also said, it can also be your detriment or be a disadvantage for you. Obviously, you're going to want to burn the enemy, or you're going to want to put the enemy to sleep, or you're going to want to pretty much freeze the enemy, or pretty much give them nightmares. Yeah, that's actually a move. It like you put the Pokemon to sleep, and it slowly damages them over time while they're sleeping. Obviously, when they're awake, the damage stops, but the move is called Nightmare, like, for a reason. It's inflicting nightmares on the opponent. But, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It really depends on... And that's kind of like the whole point with anything in a game. There are positives, but there are also negatives because the enemy can use them too. Obviously, you wouldn't want to be attacked in the game because you would lose HP. But if you were to attack the enemy and make them lose HP, you obviously want that because you want to win. Like, it's pretty simple logic. So why don't people use status moves more? And I'm talking more of the casual players, like I said before. Well, for one, Pokemon is pretty easy, to be honest. And it really... Well, from my experience, I've seen it pretty easy. I enjoyed the games. I never really had a challenge. I know, like, there are some ways you can make it even more challenging, but I think that normally, in your experience, you're kind of just playing the game as you could and would, and pretty much nothing really can stop you. And we also have to consider that kids probably wouldn't see the benefits in status moves. Like, I know I never found like anything useful in status moves when I was a kid, mostly because it's not an attacking move. Like, it's not doing damage. Like, sure, burn does damage, but slowly does it over time. Like, why the hell would I do that when I could just attack the enemy? You know, like, damage the enemy. Like, oh my god, slowly damaging them over time? Nah, hell no. I'm gonna hit the enemy instead. So that's the reason. But I think number 2, I think that the most useful thing that status moves can do for you is give you a home field advantage. If you're in the field and you're actually using your status moves to their full extent, now there are plenty of ways to go about this, why they're useful. One, like I said before, it gives you a home field advantage. And if you know how to counter it, you can potentially mitigate the status effects that the enemy could cast on you and actually benefit off of it, or just getting rid of it entirely and making sure that they still have that status effect. Obviously, when you're at a disadvantage, using status moves can give you a severe edge. Just using attacking moves sometimes doesn't work, especially if your Pokemon not only could get KO'd in a couple of moves, but they also are pretty much not very effective against that type. So you're going to want to think of something to get them off, like putting them to sleep to get them off your back. Obviously, putting them to sleep works, but the one move that does put Pokemon to sleep has like a 75% chance to hit, so it's like inconsistent. But if you can do it, then obviously you're able to get in free hits. And also, if you're able to poison the enemy, over time, over the turn, they're going to get more and more damaged. And burn also, they'll get more and more damaged. Paralysis, they'll get slower, so you can hit them more. Also, the final thing is that when you are smartly using the status moves in these skills, you can pretty much beat the AI. Or you could have a Pokemon that can benefit off of those, like a Pokemon with Guts, which actually increases your power when you have a status effect on yourself, which a lot of competitive people use, but that's besides the point. So, let's get on to the final point. Number 3, status buffs. Obviously, status moves are one thing, but buffing up your own skills or buffing up your stats, but buffing up your own stats is also important, especially buffing or debuffing the enemy stats. Obviously, you have some moves that can increase your attack, increase your special attack, increase your defense, increase your special defense, increase your speed. Obviously, there's none that can increase your HP in battle, because obviously that would be kind of broken, unless you count Gigantamaxing or Dynamaxing. But I wouldn't really count those. So, you obviously want to use those types of moves, especially if it's beneficial. Some Pokemon can greatly benefit and sweep entire teams if you actually manage to use those types of skills right. Those status moves or those buffs that you can give yourself from agility and all that other stuff, it can greatly benefit you. Like I said, you could you could literally one-hit KO the enemies, especially if you're super effective against them. And the thing that makes it even better is you can lower the enemy stats too, lowering it so they can be on your playing field. Let's say like you don't have any boosting stats or stat boosting moves. What can you do? Well, what you can do is make sure you have some stat lowering moves. But for the enemy, that is. I wouldn't want you to like inflict attack down on yourself. That would be pretty redundant and not really the point of the battle and giving the enemy the advantage. But like I said, if you can lower the enemy's stats, they'll get weaker, they'll get slower, they'll get much easier to hit, and they'll be much more susceptible to damage. If you do it right, and by doing it right, I mean you can put them to sleep and also do this. Using status moves to make this easier can also help, like paralyzing them, or putting them to sleep, or burning them, or poisoning them. Obviously, if you're doing that, they'll take even more damage from those moves, status effects, and you'll be able to win more often than not. And also, except paralysis and sleep, they don't damage you, but burn and poison do, and I think those are very helpful. So yeah, I think those can really help you. But yeah, that's my whole take on status moves and stat boosting moves. I know I put stat boosting in like the end of this, but I do think stat boosting moves and like a status effects moves are kind of hand in hand with each other, because when you use one, you're usually using the other as well. So basically, putting them together does make sense, because usually, like I said, when you use one, you usually use the other as well. So even though I didn't mention it, I do think it's important to remember that stat boosting moves or stat lowering moves to the enemy or status effects can really help. So yeah, this is Chris. How did you like this video? Are you actually considering using like status moves and like stat boosting moves that can actually help you in battle with Pokemon, or pretty much any other game that have that same type of effects that you could get by actually using moves other than attacks that would actually be beneficial for you and your team? Or like if it's like a one-person game that doesn't really have any teammates, but that's besides the point. If you like this video, comment down below what you liked about it, and also what moves would you use in Pokemon or pretty much any other game that has those types of moves that could actually benefit you and give the enemy a disadvantage in battle. So yeah, like I said, comment down below what your experience, or comment down your experiences with that kind of stuff. Do you already use it? Do you already know that they're very effective? Well, then, like I said, comment down below. So yeah, this is Chris from Let's Talk Franchises. This is me signing out. Bye.